Windsor is a vibrant, dynamic community with a wide array of intriguing businesses and interesting people. See what new businesses are coming to town. Hear about restaurants you haven't been to before. Learn the latest tips and tricks of technology. Find out what's happening around town. Get it all here on Windsor Today.
Hi, I'm Jane Garibay, Executive Director of the Windsor Chamber of Commerce, and we're here today filming Windsor Today. And today we have as our guest Ann Parkhurst from the Windsor Art Center, and we're down by the freight station. Hi, Ann. How are you?
Great, thanks. Thank you for coming.
We are so excited about the freight station being a Windsor Art Center, and I was here over the weekend. You had a great event. Can you tell us a little bit about that one?
I sure can. We had our opening for our first exhibit on Saturday. We had gallery hours during the day, and then the opening reception was in the evening from 5 to 7:30. And then on Sunday afternoon, we had a special demonstration of digital photography by our own famous Len Hellerman.
Who also has items on pieces of artwork on display.
He has a wonderful display of his photography inside, and I'm sure we're going to go inside and look at the pieces of art that are on exhibit.
Well, let's go in and see what you have.
Great. Come right this way.
And when you first come in and you start your tour around the room, what are some of the first things you see?
If you look to your left when you first come in, you're going to see the wonderful skyscapes in oil paintings by Kathy Ducey Drake. Wonderful depictions of clouds and skies.
They're so soothing. I mean, they really are. You look at them.
Yes, yep. Stress reducer.
Stress reducer.
Then walking around the corner, you see the wonderful selection of watercolor paintings by Jan Dagenhart, and you'll notice as I call your attention to the different pieces that these are all Windsor people. So we're thrilled at the
We have a lot of talent and well-known people. As you're mentioning the names, I know them all. So.
Yes, indeed. And looking further around into the room, you're going to see the found metal sculpture by Lon Pelton. Many pieces of his sculpture here. One of our wonderful photographers from Windsor is Len Hellerman, and his wonderful photography is on one wall, and on an opposite wall is another wonderful photographer from Windsor, Wayne Domkowski, and his photographs are on display.
With very distinct but wonderful styles, so it's really interesting, the diversity of the types of art.
You do get to see two different eyes of the photographer. We have some wood furniture art. We have two wood furniture artists in our exhibit. One is Jack Alberti, and you'll see his inlaid materials here. Just wonderful, fascinating things that he does. And another furniture artist is Ron Curtis, and you'll see his work on display here as well. We have oil paintings at the far end of the room by Alan Spriestersbach, and Alan is going to be coming back and doing a guitar concert for us, and that performance is going to be on First Thursday. We're going to be instituting a First Thursday here in Windsor.
Oh, that's awesome.
So October 4th at 6:30, Alan Spriestersbach, whose oil paintings you'll see in the room, he will also be here doing a guitar concert.
Does that mean every Thursday there'll be something happening, or
First Thursday
of the month? That is awesome.
However, every Sunday of the month during this exhibit, which ends on October 14th, there is a special demonstration by one of our artists. Wow. And Iva Allerson is in the back, the south corner of the room, and her oil paintings and one charcoal sketch of her late husband is on display too. And then we have another Pelton on display here, Holly Pelton with her oil paintings.
So the creativity runs in the family, I see, because those are beautiful paintings.
It does, indeed, it does. And in addition to that, let me tell you about our special demonstrations that people can come in for on Sunday afternoons. Last Sunday, we had a digital photography demonstration by Len Hellerman, and he showed us how to do digital photography, and then he showed us some of his photographs and how you can use digital photography to enhance photographs. And he talked about the controversy about whether the ethics of using digital photography.
Because there are some photographers that say you can't do it and others that do it.
Yes.
And it's really up to the artist, just like a painting. It's a medium that's used.
That's right. That's right. Yep. And we're going to have Jan Dagenhart doing a watercolor demonstration on Sunday, September 30th. And then the first Thursday, guitar.
And she has some neat artwork, too, for people that are interested in her work down at Bart's. There's a mural on the wall about the 50s and 60s, and that was painted by Jan Dagenhart. And I have to say, when I was 17, she painted my portrait in oil, and I'm still lucky enough to have that. Why we did it or why my mother or whatever, but it was really interesting.
So she has been a notary artist
right,
in town
a recognized, yeah.
Yes,
this is great.
Yeah, and then we also have our two furniture artists doing demonstrations. Jack Alberti will be coming in and showing. He will actually be working on some marqueterie, doing some inlaid furniture, and Ron Curtis will be doing a talk and a slideshow on his work.
I love it. Not only do you get to come in and see the art, but you get to learn something about the medium of the art that the artists are working in.
That's right.
And I know you guys have been really good as an organization putting things in on the Chamber website. So if anyone wants to know what's going on with the Arts Center, just go to www.windsorcc.org and you can find, and it also goes out in the e-tourism newsletter. I know Paula, who does our newsletter, has been putting out the events. So if you don't subscribe to that, just give the Chamber a call or go onto a website, and you'll be able to find all these demonstrations.
The Chamber is a wonderful source of information.
The one question I hear from everyone is, though, Ann, what if I love something so much I want to buy it?
In fact, this exhibit is, all of the items here are for sale unless the artist has put a little note on it saying not for sale.
Because they have some favorites or they've borrowed back from someone that they've given the piece of artwork to. Well, that's really fantastic. I know there's a couple of pieces here that would look really great over my mantelpiece, and the furniture and the Lon Pelton, you know, it's all fantastic. It's just fantastic.
Well, come in anytime during gallery hours, which are Thursdays from 6 to 8 in the evening, Saturdays from 10 to 4, and Sundays from 11 to 4. And when you come in, we'll invite you to sign our guest book and fill out a door prize sign, little form. And each Sunday, we draw a door prize.
That's awesome. Yeah. So that's just another added perk besides seeing the lovely art. Well, thank you so much for having us here in the Art Center today. It's been wonderful. Again, come right down to Central Street in the center of town, to the Windsor Art Center in the old freight station. It's beautiful, and you have to see it.
If we have an opportunity on our way out, Jane, I'd love to walk you to the south end of the building and show you the wonderful piece of sculpture that's outside.
That'll be great, Ann. Let's go. Okay, now we're going to go over to Grab a Bite with Paula Pierce. Today she's at Blimpie's with some wonderful treats. Paula, over to you.
Hi, this is Paula Pierce for Grab a Bite, and today I'm at Blimpie's Subs and Salads at 1001 Day Hill Road in Windsor. A sandwich is not just a sandwich when you come to Blimpie's. Come on in and find out about Blimpie's Blasts, Blimpie's Bites, and a whole range of other fresh things. I'm inside Blimpie's now with owner Brian Corsetti.
Yep.
Brian Corsetti. He's the owner of Blimpie's Subs and Salads here in Windsor and in East Windsor. Hi Brian, how's it going?
Great, thanks for coming today.
Sure, happy to be here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the sandwiches and salads that you prepare here?
Sure. At Blimpie's, we pride ourselves in slicing everything fresh to order. We have fresh salads. We do panini grilled sandwiches that we specialize in, as well as our signature sandwiches, which are all fresh sliced sliced. We're open 7 days a week here, and come on down and try out a new sandwich experience.
So I hear you have catering also, and I read something about a two-step menu for ordering catering. One order, what is it, a huge?
Order a huge sub and be a huge hero.
Easy. And that is, I'm sorry, is that the Blimpie's Blast? Is that what that applies to?
Absolutely. We make 3 and 6 foot party-sized sandwiches. We do wrap platters, deli trays, cookie trays, you name it, we can help you out.
That sounds good. Now, what are the bites?
Blimpie Bites. Those are our party tray of sandwiches, 3-inch sandwiches arranged on a platter, and it's good for a small function from like 6 to 8 people.
I want to see one of those huge sandwiches when we get to that. How long are those things?
We got 3 or 6 foot size,
Just
and
huge.
we actually got a couple.
We'll have to take a look at that.
Shot of those.
All right, great. Now, everything you said is fresh carved. So you come in, you order a sandwich, the meat and all that stuff isn't already cut, ready to go. You're cutting it fresh?
Absolutely. Each sandwich is cut fresh to order, and nothing is prep sliced or pre-sliced ahead of time. It's truly a freshness factor.
Sounds delicious. Now on the menu I noticed a couple of really interesting things, like the Sicilian, you have I think pancetta, and what's this new bread that you've got?
Oh, well, the ciabatta bread, which is a
Ciabatta.
popular bread. Our featured sandwich this quarter is buffalo chicken, a sliced deli breast of buffalo chicken on ciabatta bread with some provolone cheese, hot sauce, cracked peppercorn dressing, lettuce, tomato, and toasted to perfection.
You're making me extremely hungry.
You gotta try one.
I will. I'd love to. I also hear that you have some interesting desserts.
Yes, we have brownies, we have cookies baked fresh each day, we offer ice cream here, as well as ices as well.
Oh, that's fun.
Good, very good.
That's great. Well, thanks so much, Brian, for letting us come in today and see all your great selection.
Absolutely. Now we have to have lunch.
Oh, sounds good.
All right.
Thank you, Paula. That was great, and I know where I'm going to lunch next week. Now we're going to go over to Historical Moment with Christine Ermans with some important information about the eagle statue that's in front of the library.
Hi there, I'm Christine Ermans from the Windsor Historical Society, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to this moment in Windsor history. We're standing here on the southern part of the Broad Street Green, and we're looking at the Patriots Memorial that is actually one of the best loved and most recognizable sculptures in Windsor. And it's of the era right after World War I. And right after World War I, there were a lot of Windsor boys, young women who had served, and people really felt that to honor the local residents, they wanted to place some sort of a boulder on the Broad Street Green. But it required that money had to be raised, and when money has to be raised, things tend to take a while. So by the 1920s, some funds had been collected, and the group began to look around for a sculptor. And it really turned out that they had to look no further than their own backyard, because Windsor had a very, very talented sculptor right in town. And this person was Evelyn Longman Batchelder. She was nationally renowned. She was actually the first woman sculptor to be accepted as a full member of the National Academy of Design. She had a very active career at a time when it was rare to find women in sculpture. And the sorts of things she did were civic and memorial monuments like this, gravestone art, portraits, doorways, some commissions for medals. So her Windsor story begins in 1918. Evelyn Longman was invited to come to Windsor by Nathaniel Horton Batchelder, who was the first headmaster of the Loomis Institute. It turned out that his wife had died after giving birth to their first child, and Batchelder had seen one of Longman's sculptures that was called Consecration. And it was such a beautiful sculpture that he decided that this was the person that he wanted to make the memorial to his late wife. So in the course of the project, Nathaniel and Evelyn fell in love, and Evelyn Longman married the headmaster in 1920, despite her fears that she couldn't maintain her sculpting career. Now think about it. She was about 45 years old. She had this national career that she just carved out. And she really wasn't that willing to give it up, but Nathaniel Horton Batchelder wanted very much for her to continue, so he built his wife a studio on the Loomis campus, and he called it Chislehurst, or they called it Chislehurst on Farmington. It's actually still there. Evelyn worked very hard to balance the demands of being a wife and a mother and a headmaster's wife and a hostess with the demands of her career. And people at Loomis tell us that Evelyn would get up long before daybreak, and she'd go to her studio to work, and then she'd return so that she could be the headmistress's wife and host the breakfast with the students. And she managed it all very well. She was apparently very much loved by her stepson, by the Loomis students, and she continued to produce sculptural pieces for national and international audiences. And so, the committee turned to Evelyn Longman Batchelder and asked her if she would be responsible for pulling this memorial together. Evelyn Longman Batchelder designed and executed the model for this sculpture in her studio, and she donated her services to the town of Windsor. She wanted to be very upfront about this, and she was quoted in the Hartford Courant, and they noted that, quote, Mrs. Batchelder said that she cherishes the hope that her example may interest other artists throughout the whole country to donate their best memorial pieces of a similar nature for their own hometowns. Now, we know that the town plus the contributions of individuals totaled about $6,000 to cover the cost of the materials for this sculpture and other expenses. And then Evelyn Longman Batchelder sent a canceled bill for her services designing and making the memorial. And these are her words: in order that there may be no misconception in regard to her actual donation of her time and material, her skill, and her studio to this project. The canceled bill was roughly $7,500. Now, this is a memorial that started out to honor the people who had served in World War I. And Evelyn Longman Batchelder broadened the concept of this monument to honor all townspeople who had helped defend the tiny settlement in time of Indian menace, to represent the state when trying to maintain the integrity of the Union, to assist the Union in its attempt to straighten out the Mexican and Spanish difficulties, and most recently to serve America in the World War. This was a monument that served as a perpetual memorial to all patriots of Windsor, whether they served in a military or a civil capacity in peace or in war. The monument was dedicated in November of 1929. The eagle part of the monument was 5 feet high, and it had a 9-foot wingspan. This was very, very difficult to cast, but she managed it. The design took a year and a half. It was modeled apparently on a stuffed eagle specimen owned by Windsor taxidermist E.G. Hathaway. And Batchelder did all of the lettering that you see on the monument herself. The initial designs for the monument showed the eagle as a much more menacing figure, and it included a snake twisting in the grasp of the eagle's talons, symbolizing the enemy. So it may have been that Batchelder toned the design down as she and the committee broadened their concept of patriot to include residents who had served in a civil or military capacity in peace or in war. Once in place, the Hartford Electric Light Company spent a number of evenings experimenting with arrangements to light the sculpture at night. So from the time of its unveiling, this beautiful sculpture has been a source of considerable town pride. It serves as the logo, in fact, for the Windsor Chamber of Commerce. One of the reasons that I decided to talk about a World War I era sculpture is that at the Windsor Historical Society, we have an exhibition called Over There, Windsor and World War I, which is going to be on view until November 17th. And we urge you to get up and see it. We're also offering a number of programs that have a World War I emphasis. We're offering a canteen dinner on October 20th, this in collaboration with the Windsor Jesters. Our memory walk through Palisado Cemetery this year is also a World War I themed memory walk, and the Jesters will be portraying Army nurses, a Spanish flu influenza victim, some of the military men. It's going to be a great time. This is on October 27th. And then we are having an Edwardian luncheon on November 10th in collaboration with the Windsor Women's Club. So for more information about any of these programs or the exhibition, call the Historical Society at 688-3813 or visit the website, which is www.windsorhistoricalsociety.org. Thank you very much, and come see this beautiful sculpture sometime.
Thank you, Christine, for sharing that information about the eagle. Those are interesting facts that I've always really wanted to know, and also for sharing upcoming events at the Historical Society. They all sound really great. Now we're going over to Tech Discovery with John Waveris, and I know John has a surprise today, so I'll wait to send it over. Over to you, John.
Wayne's World, Wayne's
Exactly.
World.
That's what I was thinking.
Party on! Hi, I'm John Waveris, and this is Tech Discovery. This month, I'm interviewing Leonard Hellerman, a photographer in town. I've known him since 2001, and he's got great stuff. If you notice, in the Windsor, there's a lot to do in Windsor. Apparently, you've done...
Yeah, I guess there are about 30 covers. I've done every one since they started the magazine.
About 30 different covers, and you have an exhibit right now in...
At the Windsor, the new Windsor Center Art Gallery.
Excellent. Excellent.
Windsor Art Center is what it's called.
Excellent.
Really. At the Freight House, that's the official name, I guess.
Now, I wanted to interview you because I was taping there just last week, and they mentioned that you did a class or a demonstration on digital photography?
I did a 2-hour demonstration. I spoke for about an hour, and then I showed the Photoshop, which is the premier, digital editing for photography program. And I showed a lot of things on the computer and things that are really can blow your mind a little bit. The way you can change a face, do all kinds of stuff.
Oh, that's cool. Now, a lot of people probably have digital cameras now, but they don't really realize how different it is from before. You shot film for a long time.
I shot film all my life, and I started doing digital about 10 years ago because I volunteer with my wife at the Palm Beach Photographic Center in Florida, and they are all digital there. I mean, when I started there, there was some darkroom work. Some of the photographers were still using regular cameras, and some still do, of course, but very few. Most of them are going digital for very good reasons, that it's got huge advantages over film. Some disadvantages, but...
Yeah, what kind of advantages and what disadvantages?
Well, the advantages are that you can, well, there are multiple, but I mean, there's no cost to the film. There's no film, so there's no cost. Mm-hmm. The costs can multiply in other ways, with the computer itself and keeping it up and changing the program all the time. The Photoshop every year and a half, you got to spend another couple $100 for a new program. But it's so much fun that I don't mind doing it. But it's the ability to work with the image in the computer and to make collages. I have one here that I could show you. But you can manipulate, and of course some people are turned off by that word, but the darkroom, manipulating in the darkroom was always, Ansel Adams, that's all he did was manipulate his images.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah. There's a whole, photography can be considered, journalistic or in other words, and have to be very representational and not differ from what you actually see when you look at the scene. But other photographers think of it more as an art, and that they can do just about anything they want to create an artistic image. So, if you're presenting yourself as a journalistic photographer, you have to be honest about it. There's no question about that, and it has to be authentic, whatever you're doing, documentary.
Absolutely.
Or but if you're trying to, if you think more in terms of artistically, then anything goes, and you're never. Some people say you were never supposed to believe a photograph.
Right. Now, what sort of things do you like to shoot photos of?
Well, I do everything, but I guess I do nature, landscape, and seascapes, and all of nature, I guess you'd have to say.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of your tobacco photos. You know, in Tobacco Valley, local photographer, that's of course what you're capturing a lot of, right?
I take thousands of pictures in the tobacco fields, and they just draw me for some reason. You know, there's just a certain artistic element to the blowing, cloth in the fields, and I happen to live close to them now, and I got to know the owners, so they give me some leeway there as far as going around the fields and taking pictures, and I just somehow enjoy it very much, and I've got literally thousands of images.
How many do you think you shoot in general of photos in a year, maybe?
In a year? You know, that's maybe a disadvantage of digital. You know, you tend to take too many pictures, because before you were much more concerned about cost, and now there's no cost, literally. So you are sometimes less contemplative about what you're photographing. And that's not good, but some people think it is good that you can look down at your camera and see what you got there, and keep looking until you can see your picture right away, which is one of the it is an advantage for digital to be able to see the picture right away, because especially for a commercial photographer who, like, you could do a wedding or something, and you can get home and find out that something happened in your camera, and you didn't capture what you thought, but
tough phone call to make, I bet.
Yeah.
Now remember that before you show someone your 10,000 vacation photos. Yeah. Now there was a photo at the Art Foundation that I was really curious about. You had several, and then the last one to the right was the inside of someone's shop or an artist, or.
Yeah, a lot of people like that picture. It was taken in a salvage place in West Palm Beach, Florida, called Adam and Eve. And I was helping out a photographer in a class in digital photography. I forgot what the exact subject was for that class, but people ask about that one, and I'm happy to tell you about it, because it makes use of a new thing in photography. It's called HDR, High Dynamic Range, and it's a process whereby you take anywhere from 3 to 12, 15 pictures, and you put them all together in the computer. You take them way overexposed, way underexposed, and the computer puts them all together, and it helps you to see into the shadows a lot more than you ever could see with the camera, and even more so than you might even have seen with your own eyes at that scene. So I could go on and on about it, but you may not want all the technicalities. But if anyone is interested in something like that, they could call me, and I'd be happy to tell them about it. But
you could show them some.
Pardon me?
You could show them some of those. I love those. I know that my favorite photo of yours that I've seen uses the same technique, and it just has a glow to it. This is the Calder Stegosaurus, I think. Is that right?
The which?
It's a Calder sculpture. I think it's a Stegosaurus.
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah, that's the one downtown. You mean in Hartford? The Calder. Yeah, that one makes use of HDR. In fact, I think I might have it here. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, tell me about some of what you brought.
Well, here's a picture that's not exactly what I do mostly, but it's a picture of Dave Brubeck. I took it at the Summer Wind, and I like it a lot, because I got up behind the stage, which wasn't accessible to everybody, but I was able to do it because I was taking pictures for Summer Wind, and I caught Dave Brubeck with a high-powered, a 200 millimeter lens or whatever, and sort of like that one, but it's not exactly what I do mostly. And if you want to see some of these, well, this is a collage that I did right after 9/11, and it makes use of about 1, 2, 3. It's really just 3 different pictures that are put together in the computer. The Twin Towers are actually a photograph that I took myself several years ago, and the 2 figures are from a painting, a little section of a painting that I have at home. And the flag down here was taken in Florida. Is a truck that goes around with a huge flag that's like a quarter of an acre, and everyone gets under it, and they hold it up, and I took a bunch of pictures there. Anyway, I put this picture together for, in honor of 9/11, and it makes me a little sad when I think about it. Here's a tobacco scene, one of the thousands that I have. It's simple composition, and I like it. You know, I like it, I guess.
Excellent.
Here's a black and white picture. In digital photography, it's accepted practice, not accepted, but it's common practice to capture the picture in color, and then to convert it to a black and white in the computer. It gives you a tremendous ability to change the tones of the picture. And this was taken on Thrall Road. Actually, I guess it was this spring. I think it was this past spring.
Wow, that's beautiful. The
Yeah, I
fog
like
in
that
that.
one. And here's another one taken on Thrall Road. And has a shed in the picture. And this one's in color, and I could convert it to black and white if I wanted to. And here's another tobacco scene. This one's been around a while. A lot of people like this picture, and I guess I do too. One of the many that I have. And it was taken early morning. The sun was just beginning to rise. And, well, it's sort of eclectic what we're doing here. There's a picture in the state capitol using the HDR technique, high dynamic range, so that you see into the shadows quite well. I took it with a real wide-angle lens and a vertical format.
That's a cool shot.
I take a lot of pictures in the state capitol. Oh, here's the Calder that you referred to.
That's
and that's taken with the technique too, the HDR. And I just started using that since I came back from Florida this past winter, and it produces a look that you just don't get with the average photograph. And here's another one in downtown Hartford using the same technique. And let's see, what else do we have? Oh, the bridge. Everyone likes the bridge, and that's makes use of the technique. Under here it would be practically black if I didn't use the technique that I used.
That's excellent. Now, I'm sorry to interrupt. There's a lot of prints always available in the chamber for people to look at and maybe purchase.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Cool.
Here's one taken HDR again. So, this was taken in the Windsor Historical Society.
Oh, that's nice.
And through the window. And here's another black and white on Thrall Road, vertical.
Wow, that's a really cool photo. I like that.
I put a lot of emphasis on composition. I, think about that subject a lot. I used to talk to some camera folks about the subject. And, well, this is just a whole bunch of pictures on a... Yeah, if you want to look at these, we can.
Yeah, well, now people can come in and look at your work.
Yes, yeah, there's the things here, and they can purchase them if they want to.
3 on this wall,
right,
1 on that wall.
Right.
We've got a flip book where people can come in, and now if they wanted to purchase one, could they buy it right at the chamber office?
They can buy it right from the chamber, right.
That's excellent.
You're right.
Excellent. Well, and is there any other way people can reach you? If
I'm in the telephone book, and I'm very open. Anybody can give me a call, discuss photography they want.
Excellent.
And I can show them more things that they like, at home.
Excellent.
Which I do frequently. I have people come over and show them on the computer or whatever.
Yeah, I'd love to see more of your work.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
This concludes this episode of Windsor Today. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next month.